to you this hour, asking for your blessing and help us as we are gathered together to launch our dear friend Jim Pascual Agustin's 9th book. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Please remain standing for the national anthem. I am from Anselmo Publications. My official title in Anselmo is Chief of Publications. Basically, I choose the books that we will publish. Everything else is decided by our president, who happens to be my wife, Celeste. In tonight's program, I will be giving a short talk about the book and about our company. And then Jim, who is based in South Africa, will talk to us over Facebook Live. And after that, we will have some video presentations. And then probably we'll take a break and have our open mic. I hope you guys prepared for tonight's event. I hope you have a poem or a song to sing. R.G. Guevara promised to dance the tango. Metallic Gigolo. Thank you. So let me begin. I'd like to speak about 5 things. I got this from this structure from Milan Kundera. Like you structure your speech like a symphony. You have several movements and then you blend them all together at the end. So I will speak about Anselmo Publications, the publisher of this book, How to Make a Salagubang Helicopter, and other poems. I'll speak about Hudyat ng Kabataan para sa Palayaran, and our little publication back then in college called Bagwis. Jim Pascual Agustin, the poet. How to Make a Salagubang Helicopter, the poem and the book. And then how the convergence of all these 4 elements led us to tonight's launching. Alright, let's start the first move. Anselmo. Salagubang Helicopter is Anselmo's 3rd publication. My wife, Celeste founded a company called Book Hive Philippines back in 2004 and published the magazine called Anselmo's Illustrated Gospel for Kids. The idea was to have a weekly magazine for children that explained to them in many childlike, fun ways the Sunday Gospels read in the Catholic Church. We had 1 issue and we had signed up several subscribers, but our distribution system was not in place. So we decided to shelve the project for the moment. In 2018, my wife had her first solo art exhibit entitled Spontaneismos de Caros, By the way, she's the one who painted this. This is called Rodin's The Thinker in Spontanealismus. And the opening exhibit was attended by about 400 people. To memorialize the event, we published an accompanying art monograph, which we called Decaro Spontanealismus. That's been all sold out now, and we are hoping we could have a second printing soon. Then San Anselmo just signed up a lawyer to make a book on medical jurisprudence. Some technical stuff, hopefully might sell. I've agreed with Robbie Laurel, a friend of mine who was a student of NBM Gonzalez, to keep his book of fiction called Ongpin Stories in circulation. And NBM Gonzalez's son, Ning Gonzalez, who is writing or who has written his memoir on his life as an ex-Jesuit. Pretty interesting book. We're also working on a book on the artist Angel Cacno. And we signed up the art historian Gary Apolonio to write the principal text of the book. The other day, I was talking to Wilson Lee Flores, who was a contemporary in college. Actually, that guy won his first palanca while he was still in fourth year college. And I told him he should be writing books in between selling pandesal and real estate to the tycoons. So, why did we call ourselves San Anselmo? For this, I refer to Ediboy Calasanz, my philosophy professor back in the Ateneo, who taught us St. Anselm's proslogion. Is there a God? This is probably the single most debated issue in the history of philosophy. And St. Anselm had an answer. In Latin, the answer was "Id manus cogitari nequit," which means, in modern English, God is He whom nothing greater can be thought of. Think about that for a moment. God is He whom nothing greater can be thought of. So the argument is, if you have a great idea, if you have a great thought, if it doesn't exist, it is not that great, because to be great, it has to exist. Well, according to Immanuel Kant, that is not a proof, that is tautologous. But I don't like Immanuel Kant, so we're not going to publish anything by Immanuel Kant. But I digress. Our point is to parallel St. Anselm's argument. Ideas are not great unless they exist. And it has to exist in a physical existence like a book. And that is our thrust in San Anselmo, to make sure great ideas become truly great by giving them a physical existence in the form of a published book. This book of Jim Agustin, How to Make a Salagubang Helicopter, and other poems, is a great idea, but it's much even better because it's now a physical book that we can touch, that we could smell, that we could see. And that is the trust of our company. We want to know your great ideas. Poetry, fiction, non-fiction, scientific journals, art criticism. We want art criticism. Your life stories. The other day, we were talking to a wife of a politician in the Philippines who was killed back in the 60s and who moved to the US. And she has a very amazing story of adventure and love. And I think that will become a book by San Anselmo. So I asked Gay to tell the writers to come, because if you have a good idea, we're open to see them, to hear you about it, and see maybe we could publish them. Let's make them truly great. All right. Number 2, Hudyat. I met Jim Agustin through Hudyat. The complete name is Hudyat ng Kabataan para sa Kalayaan. Because we're much older now, we call ourselves simply Hudyat. I think the Hudyat table is over there, I guess. We are the smiling activists of the Ateneo in the late 80s and early 90s. Our model member is Archie Guevara, who happens to be here. He used to go around the campus on a plain white shirt, jeans, and sandals, with an accessory of 2 balls slung around his neck, and a 3-liter Coleman water carrier. Hudyat nurtured us in the most creative stages of our lives and kept us believing in the power of the imagination. The popular song Harana, which was recorded by Parokya Edgar and the Apo Hiking Society, was composed by Eric Yaptanco, who was our Secretary General at the Ateneo. We also started the program called Ibang Klase. In this program, we invited over 100 speakers from all sorts of disciplines, including scientists, artists, state leaders, several secretaries of departments, and political personalities to speak to the students on various topics on special classes. We had this in 1989, just about the same time that the TED Talks idea was brewing. But I believe we predated TED Talks by a few years. But what endears me the most to Hudyat is Bagwis. Bagwis is the independent publication of poets, artists, and writers founded by Jim Pascual Agustin, Lil Imperial, and Archie Guevara. In 1991, I became the editor of Bagwis. And being the editor of Bagwis, it also meant that I had to fund the publication. Back then, I was a piano teacher, and I had about an extra 500 pesos, which I used to come up with the issue. I had the manuscripts prepared and typeset in a laser printer. My problem was how to make the cover. I decided to use transfer stickers, which I got from National Bookstore, to prepare the masthead and then type the names of the authors on the cover. Luli Arroyo, who was our editor at the Gaidon back then, saw me and asked me, "Marvin, what are you doing? That is so ugly." And I said, "Oo nga eh. Wala na akong pera. Wala na rin akong oras. I was graduating in a few days. I just had to come up with the issue." And it did. It came out. And here it is. Ta-da! The cover is made by Cuni Martinez, the twin Cornelius Martinez, who happens to be the grandson of Fernando Amorsolo. We had about 50 copies of this released back then. At least one is in the Ateneo archives. But the most marvelous thing about this little book is the fact that the poems of at least 3 future National Book Awardees appear in this issue. We have the poems of Marjorie Evasco, who was then a teacher in the Ateneo. The poems of Zosimo Kibilan Jr., who got his National Book Award in Fiction a couple of years ago. And the poems of Emmanuel Velasco, who just won the award last year for his poetry in Filipino. We also have the poems of the current ambassador to Israel, Lil Imperial, whose pen name back then was Israel Makarain. We have the poems of Father Johnny Go, who is, I think, the president of Cedar School. And I told you earlier, the cover image and center spread was made by Edwin Cornelius Martinez. This is actually a drawing, ball pen drawing on a piece of paper, and it looked marvelous back then. You should see the original. Well, if only I could talk to my 21-year-old self back then to tell him that this day will come when we are launching Jim Pascual Agustin's 9th book of poetry. I would have convinced him to spend another 500 pesos on the cover. And in publishing this book of Jim, our resources were also quite limited. So I found myself scrimping on some stuff. I should have published this on acid-free paper, which would have been very expensive, but would have extended its shelf life. So now I'm feeling dreadful, because 20 years from now, I don't know what my 70-year-old self would be telling me. All right. Now that brings me to Jim Pascual Agustin. In early 2018, I ordered the book online from Jim's former publisher. I paid about £10 for the book and £5 for shipping. After 6 months, the book has not arrived. Jim asked me if I received the book, and I said not yet. Jim was alarmed, and he emailed the publisher. The publisher said I should be the one to contact him, me, the buyer, but I don't want to be bothered. My understanding is the publisher should have a system for this. Further, the publisher wanted me to pay another £5 for shipping. So I told Jim, by email, copy furnished to this publisher, I'm not going to pay again. The publisher can keep his copy, but if he comes to Manila, I'm going to sue him for fraud. There's an exchange of heated emails afterwards, and it ended with Jim's book being pulled out of circulation by the publisher. Kasalanan ko yun. I mentioned this story also to highlight Jim's dedication to his craft. How much he likes people to read his poems, ensuring his paper children, as he calls them, would reach the readers. Among the poets in Ateneo in our time, Jim is the only one with 9 books. He is well known in poetry circles abroad, and he has won numerous awards, one of which is the Gabo Prize for Literature and Translation and Multilingual Text, given by Antioch University of Los Angeles, California. But I told Jim, in spite of all your awards abroad, how come I feel nobody's reading your books here? And so I pitched him the idea, maybe, instead of awarding the writer, we should be giving an award to the readers. Which brings me to the story of the book. Number 4, How to Make a Salagubang Helicopter, the poem in the book. If you look at page 85 of the book, the poem Salagubang Helicopter appears. The speaker of the poem relates how the bigger boys instructed him on the delicate surgical operation that a salagubang endures, loosing its hind legs, on the stumps of which a thread is tied, which then is knotted to a stone. And as it is released to fly, it goes around in circles with a stone dead center. Sabi ko kay Jim, napakatalino naman ng mga tao sa Marikina. Sa Marikina kasi lumaki yan. Sa Barangka. By the way, Jim's sister is here with us. Thank you for coming. And kasi doon sa amin sa Project 2 Quezon City where I grew up, yung mga salagubang, tinatalian na lang namin. Tapos pinaikot namin parang saranggola hanggang mahilo at mamatay. Okay lang yung si Joel Pablo Sagot, ginagawa nga nilang adobo. Anyway, the poem is also about the speaker. The small boy receiving instructions from the bigger boy. This is what Envy and Gonzalez described as liminality from Victor Turner's book. It's the phase of the initiation story where the participant of a ritual has entered the initiation but has not yet begun the transition to the new status after the ritual. Sa tulang ito, itinuturo sa maliit na bata kung paano pahirapan at laruin ang salagubang ng mga malalaking bata. Kumbaga, pag natutunan niya na ito, big boy na siya. Pwede na siyang magpantalon. To front men, this is probably equal to the feeling after one has participated in his first hazing. To lawyers, ito yung pakiramdam pagkatapos mong gumawa ng desisyon at mag-abot ng suhol sa judge. To writers, siguro ito yung pakiramdam pagkatapos gumawa ng script ng advertisement kung paano ang mapaklang margarina ay tumutulong magpatangkad. I'm sure many of us have experienced liminality. The structure of the book mirrors the poem, Salagubang Helicopter. In the middle chapter called Abominations, Jim describes in a series of compelling poems the Filipino experience of extrajudicial killings. It is like saying what we're doing to these poor Salagubangs, plucking out its legs, lining it up, tying it up in stone, making it go round and round in circles. It's the same thing that some people are doing to this country. And the highlight of this chapter is the prize-winning poem Danica made about the girl who got caught in the crossfire of this senseless drug war. This book is a masterpiece. I have tried to assemble the best people I know to make sure this book will reach our shores in hard copy. So I asked Sasha Martinez here, please stand up and say hello to the audience. Palanca Award-winning fictionist, to write the foreword and edit the book. She was very, very patient with us. Old chaps who could not outgrow our grammatical mishaps. Sasha was also our guarantee that the beautiful essay by Jim on his pursuit of the poetic muse at the end of the book will turn out pretty well. Alex Bugsy Sibo over there, the award-winning, please stand up and say hello to the audience, the award-winning pastel artist who prepared the pastel drawing, pastel painting, there you see it, pastel, which we use for the cover design and also for the design of the book. It took us several months to decide on the book cover. There were at least 6 different drafts of the book cover, and Alex patiently, with extreme hard work, never let us go until we were satisfied that we have the best book cover and design in this book, How to Make a Salagubang Helicopter and Other Props. At the core of the book are pictures that Urian Award-winning cinematographer Paul Aitanielo took. Beautiful pictures that tell the most beautiful stories, which James Agustin's poetic genius unlocked for us. I was so fascinated by these pictures and poems, that's why I asked Jim to write that essay at the back of the book. I believe that essay and the book should be required reading for all high school students. And this brings us back to the idea why this book is here. We should award our readers. In the next few months, we will be launching the San Anselmo Cup, the nationwide contest open to all Filipino high school students to read and interpret the poems in this book. There will be 2 basic categories, video poetry and essay writing. We want the students to read the book, find their favorite ones and make video poetry out of it. And for kids who are more inclined to writing, they can write their reactions, interpretations of the poems. And we will award the best ones. What will happen after the contest? Well, hopefully, we sell more books, so I could print 5 more books of Jim. There are 7 million high school students. Let's go for 1 million. Or even just 10%, 700,000. Or even just 1%, 70,000. That will be enough to print and publish the next books. But more than just sales, it is also about getting the kids, our kids, back to reading poetry. Poetry sharpens people's minds. And this book, I guarantee, will transform anyone who will be patient enough to read even just one poem. To conclude, liminality may also be about positive things, like attending your own graduation ceremony. And for our company, Anselmo Publications, are having published this book, going through the pains of editing and designing it. After that, setting up the distribution system, developing a marketing plan. This mirrors my own experience in releasing this back in the 90s. And perhaps as I close this speech, I believe I can say we have crossed the liminal period. We are now publishers. Thank you very much. That's it. Is it available online now? Is it? My phone. All right. Maybe. Okay. Let's have the videos. Just before you start showing the videos, we have 36 poetry videos prepared, but we will not show them all tonight. But we have prepared them to launch this book and to flood the internet with poetry. We asked J.C. Santos, the star of the film Isang Daang Tula, para kay Bella. Bella ba? Stella. Bella yung artist na. Stella. To read these poems. And we also asked Angel Aquino. And we released the first 2 poetry videos last week. We will release at least one every week or every 2 weeks. And we want to get this going in order to give the kids some idea on how it can be done. I'm sure they could make better videos at a much cheaper rate. But the idea really is to promote poetry and sharpen the skills of our people. So we have what one? J.C. Santos. Okay, this is J.C. Santos. It says reading of Sometimes Sadness Has No Face.
Sometimes sadness has no face. The sun is high, and your own shadow hides under your feet. There are knives small as needles slowly going deeper into the roots of your hair. You pass the bright display window of a shop. It looks like your skin is being held back on the cold glass. Though you stare at your own eyes, it is someone else you see. With eyes closed, you desire to wake up in another world, not here, alone. There are many who bump against your arm, shoulder, and elbow. None of them have a history linked to yours, no matter how close their skin feels that moment. The way back is not the way home. This you keep forgetting.
small as needles slowly going deeper into the roots of your hair. You pass the bright display window of a shop. It looks like your skin is being held back on cold glass. Though you stare at your own eyes, it is someone else you see. With eyes closed, you desire to wake up in another world. Not this, alone. There are many who bump against your arm, shoulder, elbow. None of them have a history linked to yours, no matter how close their skin feels that moment. The way back is not the way home. This you keep forgetting.
And this one is the only time we're showing to an audience. This is Jim Agustin's tribute to our organization, Hudyat.
Perhaps this is how we were. From my Hudyat friends. A seed breaking the layered silence of earth and skin, shadowed by the trunk of fallen trees, threads of beaks circling and clearing, a dream unfurling leaf by leaf to catch light with such small hands.
This one, this is English. This is the English version of Danica May. This is the poem that won the Gabo Prize from Antioch University.
Danica May. The president's helicopter will never land near your barangay. He will never walk up to your mother's house, dust his shoes off before stepping through the door. He'll never look around where you kept your toys. His eyes won't linger on your clothes as they hang or lay folded, now separate from the family laundry. He won't ask what your favorite ice cream flavor was, or how you held your crayon in your hand, or whether you covered your mouth whenever you laugh. Whatever I say won't matter. Not to you. Not even as I declare that bullets did not end your life. Words did. The bullets were nothing but bits of metal that could have been a door to your toy car, or the buttons of a dress you will never now wear.
The next one is the original Filipino version of the poem Danica May.
Danica May. Hindi kailanman lalapag, malapit sa iyong barangay ang helicopter ng presidente. Hindi siya kailanman maglalakad patungo sa bahay ng iyong ina o magpapagpag ng alikabok sa sapatos bago humakbang papasok ng pintuan. Hindi kailanman hahagurin ng kanyang tingin kung saan mo dati itinatabi ang iyong mga laruan. Hindi magmamabagal ang kanyang mga mata pagtanaw sa mga damit mong nakasabit o tiklop na nakahimlay. Ngayon, pahiwalay na sa labada ng pamilya. Hindi niya tatanungin kung ano ang flavor ng paborito mong ice cream, o kung paano ka humawak ng Crayola, o kung tinatakpan mo ng palad ang iyong bibig tuwing matatawa. Walang halaga ang anupaman na aking sasabihin, lalo na sa'yo. Kahit pa mantukuyin kong hindi mga bala ang kumitig sa iyong buhay, kundi mga salita. Mamunting piraso lamang ng bakal ng mga bala na maaari sana naging pintuan ng laruan ng kotse, o mga botones ng damit na hindi mo na maisusuot mula sa araw nito.
When I first saw that video, I was stunned in silence for about a minute. And as we wait for Jim to come on board, unfortunately, the Filipino version is not in the book, so we will release that as a special poetry card once we start rolling out the videos. We're having a signal problem. What time is it in South Africa, Gay? Minus 6 hours. So it's about lunchtime. I sent Jim 100 copies of his book, and we've been tracking the adventure of that parcel. The other day, we saw that it has entered Johannesburg, and today he said the book is now in the Bureau of Customs of South Africa. So I hope he doesn't get charged hefty customs duties by his South African regulator. So as we try to bring Jim on board, you'll have to bear with me and blabber for a bit. The pictures from Hudyat that you saw earlier during the video for Hudyat were our college pictures. And as you can see, we were all so thin back then. This is the first time this is being done. Our last backup plan is we will put Jim on audio. If we don't get it done in a few minutes by video, we'll get him on audio. Kaya na. Oo nga eh. Ganito ma'am, while we're waiting, maybe I can call you to the front, ask a few questions. Jim's sister is here. I was talking to her a bit. Can you give her a microphone? Ma'am, can you state your full name again? Lorna. And you are the eldest sister of Jim. You know, at the back of the book is a poem called The Boy Who Wished He Were Lego. And can you tell us, what does Jim have to do? Why is Jim writing poems about Lego?
Si Jim, ang batang tahimik. Wala siyang kalaro. Hindi kasi siya lumalabas ng bahay. Talagang nasa bahay lang siya. Kaya pag papasyal kami ng mami ko, ang lagi niya ipabibigay pag nung araw na COD, yun ang kilala noon na department store. Talagang hihilain niya si mami papunta doon sa bilihan ng Lego. Kahit na, ito na lang, iba na lang, kasi Lego na tayo nung nakaraan. Hindi mami, Lego lang po. Iniisa-isa niya muna yung mga tao. Pagdating namin sa bahay, walang pwedeng gumalaw nun. Siya lang. Hindi siya katulad ng ibang bata na pag may laruan, tinatry nilang sirain, bakit kaya ito umaanda, gano'n, di ba ibang bata. Siya hindi. Itatabi niya yan isa-isa. Hanggat hindi nakukumpleto yung set ng isang Lego na yon, hindi siya titigil na pabili yun hanggang makumpleto yon. Tapos ilalagay niya yon sa taguan niya. Hindi talaga siya naninira. Ayaw niya ng mamahal, ibang laruan kahit na. Minsan ng daddy namin nag-uwi ng robot. Hindi niya pinansin. Lego lang talaga ang gusto niya. Kaya nung magkaroon ako ng anak, ang unang natatandaan ko, ang unang-una niyang ibinigay sa anak ko nang marunong ng maglaro, Lego pa rin. Tapos yung mga Lego niya na nalipasan, na ibinigay niya sa anak ko, yung iba sa ibang bata, nung hinanap na niya ulit, bakit wala na? Bakit di niyo iningatan? Yun ang lagi niyang sinasabi. Ingatan ninyo. Maski nung umuwi pa siya ng Pilipinas, si Jim ang taong hindi palabigay ng kahit ano. Ang ibibigay niya sa batang pasalubong, libro. Yun lang, libro. Ang mabuti na lang yung anak ko ay katulad din niya na tulong doon ng scholar na ngayon ay kumukuha ng art criticism sa UP, nagma-master siya doon. Na sana graduate na by this May. Yan ang mahilig sa magbasa. Yung anak ko yun. Kaya tuwa siya doon sa eldest ko. Kasi yun, kumbaga yun ang nagmana sa kanya. Na hindi naman siguro na loner, talagang ayaw lang nila ng maingay. Kasi si Jim nung araw, pag may bisita kami, hindi yan lumalabas. Nahihiya. Kaya hindi siya nakikita kung hindi pa siya hanapin. Nasaan si Jim? Nag-aaral. Hindi yan lumalabas ng kwarto. Hindi nga ho namin siya nakikita madalas. Laging wala. Laging nakakulong. Laging may mga paperworks na ginagawa. Hanggang sa, ito na nga. Mas lalo ko siyang namiss ngayon habang nagsasalita si Marvin. Lalo ko namiss yung kapatid ko kasi almost 10 years nang hindi umuwi si Jim. Dapat talaga kami magkakapatid na dito. Kami tatong babae. Kaya lang may graduation ng seminar ng dalawa kong sister. Gusto nila pumunta. Sabi ko, sige, kung hindi kayo pwede, ako na lang. Tsaka yung husband ko, sabi ko. Ako nagsasalita ka kanina, lalo ko na. Ewan ko, talagang miss na namin siya.
Meron pa akong tanong mo. Sa mga may copy na ng libro, may tula dyan na ang title Consuelo Garcia, Please Stop Visiting My Mother. Now, when I was reading the poem, sabi ko, ibang klase itong tula na to. First time ko nakakita ng ganitong tula. And, can you tell us the story of Consuelo Garcia?
Si Mami kasi po, nasa 78 na ata, nung mapanaginipan niya itong si Consuelo Garcia. Co-teacher niya po ito sa Barangka. Patay na po yun. Siguro 70 o mga 79 na si Mami noon. Bedridden na po si Mami noon Lagi niya sinasabi sa amin.
Ayan na siya. Tuloy niyo muna yung kwento niyo. Mamaya na, Jim.
Alam ko yan.
Tapos yun. Ayan, tuloy
Ay,
mo.
kuya. Sabi po ni Mami, napanaginipan po, dumating dito si Mrs. Garcia, Consuelo Garcia. Inisip na ngayon namin, sabi ng sister ko, ate, si Consuelo Garcia. Co-teacher ngayon. Nasaan ba siya? Eh, di patay na. Bakit? Nandito daw siya. Sinusundo niya si Mami. Tapos, ang dami daw mga batang naglalaro. Galit na galit si Mami. Sabi niya, umalis kayo. Nagsasalita siya mag-isa. Alis kayo dyan. Alis kayo dyan. Gabi na. Umuwi na kayo. Palibasa si Mami ay teacher ko ng grade 1. Nagka-flashback na siguro sa kanya. Lahat na nangyayari. Tingnan mo yung mga batang yan. Ang liliko, tingnan mo, kahit wala naman. Bakit Mami, ano ginawa ni Mrs. Garcia? Sinusundo niya ako rito, alis daw kami. Ano sabi mo? Ayoko sumama. Tama yun, mama, masasama. Sabi mo magagalit si Lorna. Oo, hindi naman ako sasami. Kaya lang, anak, palabasin mo na yung mga bata kasi maingay sila. Pero wala naman. So, syempre, alam namin na gano'n na dahil matanda. O, Mami, huwag ka nang magulo. Sabi ko, gano'n na ingay, lalabas na sila. Sasama ko sila pag uwi ko. Isama mo ha, isama mo. Opo, sasama ko po. Kinuwento ko ngayon kay Jim na napanaginipan na dumalaw daw si Mrs. Garcia at sinusundo siya. Ate, sino ba yung si Mrs. Garcia? At kinuwento ko, teacher niya. Nasa na ba? Patay na nga. Sabihin mo kay Mami, huwag siya sasama doon. Hindi ko alam na gumawa pala si Jim na tula tungkol kay Mrs. Garcia. Kaya nung malaman namin, natatawa kami magkakapatid, si Kuya talaga.
Alright. So Jim, finally, you're with us. Pwede ba nating nagbigay yung hologram figure niya? Wala eh. So, Jim, thank you. It's your turn.
Hi, it's lagging. Alright, sorry, the image and the audio are not syncing very well. I don't know if you guys can hear me clearly. I put headphones on so I can hear myself.
Very clear, Jim.
Anyway, I'm just gonna keep going. Alright, I'm sorry about the voice. I'm hearing echoes. Before my so-called speech, I wish to thank all of you for being here. My family in the Philippines who suffered through many losses, my father and then my mother while I was away. I grieved with them across lands and oceans. And my grief was nothing to compared to what they've been through. The friends I met many years ago and just recently, thank you for being here or there, in person or online, for being true friends despite the distance. Marvin Aceron, Celeste De Carlos, Kay Ace Domingo, Sasha, and Alex, and the fantastic team behind San Anselmo Publications for putting so much trust in the fragility of words, my words. Marvin, I really cannot thank you enough for this opportunity. Maraming salamat. These are dark times. These are dark times, not because there are people in power who make dark things happen. Their biggest tools are fear and deception, words of violence followed by acts of violence. Their aim is forgetting. Each of us must find our own way of fighting this darkness. Tools to turn into a shield, gifts to turn into weapons. I'd like to think that these fragile words are my own tools, my own weapons against the darkness, against those who seek to make us less human, those who want us to forget who we are, what we are. With every act of resistance, we push back the darkness. We remember, before we fight the darkness, we need to know So, since it's just after Valentine's Day, I'd like to read a few poems about love. The first one is called Imagining Aliens. Imagining aliens. Eyes drowning in stars. A boy sent out thought waves, imagining aliens were out there, sailing the waterless expanse, waiting for signals that matched their instruments. Had he looked inside him, he would have found an alien probe already making a nest, but not like those in horror movies. A homing device, invisible yet palpable as the bark of the tree he loved to climb, had long been caught in the waves he sent out to the universe. Time and place and a bit of luck would one day open a portal between them, turn their worlds inside out until they became aliens to each other, exploring the warm unknown. Sorry for the lag here. I'm watching myself read a few seconds after. It's weird. Sorry about the eye bags. I really didn't get much sleep last night. Okay, I just heard you clap, and it's weird. This is the next poem. It's called Falling in Reverse. It was the truck driver who lost control of the wheel, staring at the plane's extreme angle in the sky that brought them together. The fork of her bicycle twisting flat under his front tire, her right cheekbone pressing against his wiper, his face drowning in an airbag, arms flapping like birds. They were bruised and healed, you could say, before everything else happened. The plane was swallowed by clouds that looked like an ocean brewing a storm. The truck driver lost his job, tried to be a pilot, and the two found themselves with nothing but the curtain between them. The next one is called My Father Was a Marcos Loyalist. He couldn't choose where to be born, like everyone else. Ilocos Norte could easily have been Reykjavik, or Lhasa, or the version of Belfast in South Africa instead of Ireland. He was never offered a new pair of soccer shoes despite being the star player of the province. I never wondered until now how many times he had to mend his only pair before each match. You could say he was lucky. His father taught him how to use cobbler's tools early on. He made money for school, added to the family income, fixing other people's shoes. The things he had to do before he considered himself a Marcos loyalist would seem irrelevant. Joined the military for a regular income to support a sister through her studies, giving up his own, obeyed orders wherever he was called, left his wife and children for stretches of time without assurance he would return in a coffin or just as a folded flag. Voted for the dictator again and again because he shared the same birthplace and middle name. Now, they both have their names in stone, but set in different places. My father had to save up to pay for the plot of land for his remains. There's a bit of grass that goes brown in summer. When heavy rains come, his name disappears in the rising waters. He cursed Marcos once for kicking us off our land to build a highway. All right, the last, it's not the last, I've got two more. Second to the last. It's called, It Was Never a Landslide, but People Are Now Dead and Dying. I think we know who's this for. The crescent moon will not be blamed for the insanity of some. The seas cannot be held back by measured borders, for its nature is to surge against itself in whatever it encounters. Men will choose, and some women too, the path closest to what they believe will slay their fears, even as history has shown they are nothing but their own shadows. It is easy to forget that stepping back allows a better view of where one is headed. Now, it is too late to recount. A landslide victory is claimed by less than most. The dead and dying are now sprouting like poison mushrooms, where children may find them. I was going to read Duterte's Dead, but I think I'll skip that because I want to read something called To Be an Orc. To be an orc. Sit patiently on a chair like the others. Whatever skin you show must be made to look like old leather drenched in stagnant sewers. An electric razor will ravage your scalp, so a misshapen skull can be plastered over. Your nose and ears will be layered with latex, the texture of gravel. If you should have speaking lines on camera, you must learn to bear those jagged dental prosthetics. Flick that blackened tongue. You wear grease-smeared rags and a helmet that won't stay on as you run while being filmed so close to a cliff. You will die in different locations, again and again. Your own mother will not recognize you among the scattered bodies in the panoramic sweep of the smoldering battlefields. I think that's it. Sorry. And I stop now. Thank you very much for bearing with me.
All right, Jim. What time is it in South Africa?
There's this long lag in between. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
I hope you get your books out of the customs.
Margaret, your audio comes much later.
All right.
I haven't been to the customs office. It's now almost 2:10.
All right, Jim. I'll catch you later, dude. Catch you later. Thank you.
It's weird. It's like Chinese movie